Steve Jobs once said, begin quote, "The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation that is to come." End quote. Think about that for a second. The most powerful person in the world isn't the richest, isn't the strongest, isn't the one with the most followers or the biggest title. It's the storyteller. And here's what I want you to consider. What if the most powerful force shaping your life isn't what actually happens to you, but the story you tell yourself about what happens? That is what we're exploring today. Hey there, it's me, Core, and you're listening to Exercising Self-Control from Fitness to Flourishing. We're living in an age of narratives. Everywhere you go, someone's telling you a story. The news is telling you a story about what's happening in the world. Social media is telling you a story about how you should live. Your family is telling you a story about who you are. Your own mind is telling you a story about your past, your abilities, your future. Here's the problem. Most of us aren't choosing which narratives to accept. We're just absorbing them. We're letting them shape our attention, our beliefs, our actions, without ever stopping to ask, is this actually true? Or is this just a story? That's where the phrase, "cool story, bro," comes in. It's something I've come up with for myself to keep myself clear on what's happening. It's not meant to be dismissive. It's a mental checkpoint. It's a pause. When you hear a narrative from anyone about anything, you stop and ask, is this actually true? Or is this just a story? Because here's the thing. Narratives are powerful. They shape how we see the world. They shape how we see ourselves. And if we're not conscious about which narratives we're accepting, they're choosing us instead of us choosing them. Now, this isn't a new idea. In fact, it goes back over 2,000 years. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus was born a slave in ancient Rome, and he spent his life teaching people about ultimate freedom. Not the freedom to control what happens to them, but the freedom to control how they respond to what happens. One of his core teachings was this: it's not events that disturb us. It's not what happens. It's our impression of what happens. It's the story we tell ourselves. He put it this way: wait a while for me, my impression. Let me see what you are and what you are an impression of. Let me test you. In other words, pause. Before you accept the story your mind is telling you, examine it. Test it. Ask yourself, is this really true? This is the foundation of what Epictetus called your proeresis, that is, your choosing self. This is also called your will or your volition. It's your ability to decide what you believe and how you respond. Here's the key. This foundation is identical whether the narrative is coming from outside you or from inside your own mind. Whether it's a news story, something someone told you, or a thought your brain generated, the principle is the same. You have the power to examine it. You have the power to choose whether to accept it. That power lives in one place, your choice. So why does this matter? Why am I talking about narratives and Stoic philosophy on a podcast about personal development? Because narratives shape everything. There's a framework, and I'm going to keep this simple, that goes like this: attention, meaning, and action. Where you put your attention determines what seems meaningful to you. What seems meaningful determines what you do. What you do determines who you become. And narratives are what direct your attention in the first place. If you accept the narrative that you are not capable, your attention goes to evidence that confirms that. You miss opportunities. You don't take action. You become someone who doesn't try. If you accept the narrative that the world is against you, your attention goes to every piece of evidence that confirms that. You become defensive. You push people away. You create the very isolation you feared. But if you examine the narratives, if you pause and ask, is this actually true? Something shifts. You get to choose where your attention goes. You get to choose what's meaningful. You get to choose your action. And that's where real strength comes from. Not from controlling the world around you. You can't do that. But from controlling your response to the world. From consciously choosing the narratives you live by. This is what I call stoic strength. Virtuous self-control. And you can build this strength with one simple practice. Pausing and examining the story. Try this. It's simple. It requires nothing but your attention. For the next 24 hours, notice one moment where you catch yourself accepting a narrative without questioning it. It could be something you heard on the news. It could be something someone shared with you. It could be a thought that popped into your head about yourself. Just notice it. That's the exercise. Awareness is the first step. You're not trying to change anything yet. You're not trying to fix anything. You're just noticing. Oh, there's a story I'm accepting without examining it. That's it. That's the whole practice. Here's what I want you to remember. The most powerful person in your life is the storyteller. And that storyteller is you. Are you choosing the stories you believe? Are you examining them? Are you testing them? Or does it seem as if they are choosing you? Because if you're not conscious about the narratives you're accepting, they're shaping your life without your permission. They're directing your attention. They are determining what seems meaningful. They're driving your actions. But if you pause, if you examine, if you ask, is this actually true? You get your power back. That's the foundation. That's where you start. In the next episode, we're going to take this principle deeper. We're going to look at how narratives from the outside world, the news, social media, what other people tell you, shape your perception of reality. And we're going to talk about how to apply this cool story bro mindset to those external narratives so you can see through the spin and choose what you actually believe. That's it for today. Catch you next time.